three of us saw Indy on day of release, which is an AVForums milestone. I don't think even back in our day, Si, we ever did all three of the team, any three of the team, going to see
the same
a
film at the same time.
cinema release on the same day of release.
And we were the only three people who saw it.
You know what? I took my whole family in there and it was empty.
Yeah.
It was really, really empty. Now, Mark, you reviewed it, so you get to say what you like about it, but we'll disagree because it's wrong. But no, tell us a little bit about what you thought. For those who haven't gone and read your review, of course.
Of course. Well, assuming everyone has read the review that I slaved over. No. Well, it's slightly better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which, let's be honest, is all anybody really wanted. Well, maybe people wanted it to be an awful lot better, but sadly it isn't, because it still suffers from... It's the same existential crisis that film suffered from. What do you do when your action hero ages out? Well, even the Expendables had a better idea of what to do with their aging heroes than, unfortunately, the last two indie films. Now, it's for all intents and purposes, it starts off like an indie movie, de-aged Harrison Ford with some pretty good but then pretty wonky de-aged VFX. Shame the budget couldn't have stretched to his voice, but hey ho, no one noticed that. Hey, and it kicks off where he's after something or other, and he's beating up Nazis, and it's straight back to Dr. Jones, Nazi puncher. Hooray, job's a good one. However, then we flash forward to 1969, and he's old, he's broken, he's miserable, he's grumpy. He's actually Harrison Ford. He's no longer playing a character. He's just Harrison Ford at that point.
Old and grumpy. It sounds like the movies team.
Exactly. And wouldn't you know it?
Old?
Yeah, it's the old bit that got him.
Get bent, Simon.
So then there is a Phoebe Waller-Bridge storms into his life just as he's getting happy to settle into the misery of retirement. And wouldn't you know it, he's back being hunted by slightly older Nazis, trying to find something mythical that no one really cares about because it's not really a good MacGuffin in any way, shape, or form. And we're off with lightweight and terrible CGI.
It's not the CGI's fault, Mark.
Well, no.
It's not the CGI's fault. The CGI was doing a good job. I'm just saying right now, all those people who are CGI out there, you deserve an Oscar. The people who are hardworking CGI out there deserve an Oscar. It's not the CGI's fault. It's the rest of the people involved in the film. The CGI can only do so much.
Thank you, Kaz Harlow, live from the VFX picket line. We will be returning to your normal broadcast shortly. So ultimately, cut a long story short, the good Ford, even though he's miserable, even though he's grumpy, God, he's so good. He's Harrison bloody Ford, for God's sake. And you know what? He clearly has an absolute ball with this character. You can see it in the marketing, which... bless him, he's trying his hardest to sell the bloody thing, isn't he? But I think his love for the character shines through even in that. And it's there on screen. You'd be a really hard-hearted swine if you didn't get a little twinge of excitement just to see him in the fedora and on screen again. And actually, the bit that surprised me most was his chemistry with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I can see how she proved to be a very divisive character. Is she a goodie? Is she a baddie? What is she? Who is she? Is she a Kathleen Kennedy stan? What is she? Oh, it's another strong female role shoehorned in where one's not needed. All that kind of rubbish. But ultimately, I liked that she was spiky. I liked that you didn't quite know where her motivations were at, in the beginning at least. And I thought she actually had some real chemistry with Harrison Ford. And my favorite parts of the whole film were that really slow middle section where there's no action scenes. There's not really an awful lot happening other than those two talking and bickering and talking some more. I don't like the MacGuffin, the Anti-Kythera, whatever it's called. It sounded great on paper, but they did nothing with it. There was no danger to it. There was no real interest to it. I don't mind the huge swing they took in the third act. Quite like, if you're going to go, go big or go home, go big indeed. But they didn't then make enough of it. It kind of felt really anticlimactic for something which should have been whoa, and it just wasn't. So ultimately, and the last said about the painful final scene, I can't even go into spoilers on it. The less said about that, the better. I'm left with a film which doesn't. Well, everyone has said the one thing everyone agrees about this film is that it just didn't need to exist. And it still doesn't need to exist to some degree. I don't think it should exist, certainly not in its current form. It was a huge disappointment for me, even though I quite liked the characterization of it. But there you go. I'm sure you guys have a slightly different point of view on it, which I'd love to hear.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that everyone agrees it shouldn't exist.
I don't think it's like you said that it's better than the Crystal Skull, which is true for like half an hour, 40 minutes. And it's also worse than the Crystal Skull for like half an hour, 40 minutes. And it does a weird thing, like diving across that line of like, oh God. But it is never good enough nor bad enough to warrant any strong feelings about at all. Like I didn't feel disappointed. I didn't really feel anything. I like that happened. That was a couple of hours of my life, and
2.5 hours.
Certainly was an Indiana Jones film. He was doing his thing, and now I'll go home.
But surely you shouldn't feel like that for Indiana.
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. I think I expected more from Mangold. I expected more from Spielberg coming out and saying it was the greatest Spielberg film he hadn't done. I think
him and James Gunn are having who can blow the most smoke up each other's arse at this moment in time.
You know what? Like,
The Flash is the greatest film ever. No, this is the greatest film ever.
But they really should consider that they could be positive about a movie without sounding like they're on drugs. I mean, it is possible that James Gunn could have said positive things about The Flash without in any way speaking ill of it, and with getting people, go and watch it for Keaton. He could have just done that, and it wouldn't have said anything bad. Best film Ezra Miller's done. Boom. He could have said loads of things that didn't involve like one of the best DC movies of all time. Like, really, don't stick of all time in there. Don't have Spielberg come on board and say, I never thought anyone would capture the magic of a Spielberg indie flick. And then I saw Dial of Destiny and someone's done it. Damn it, they've done it. I mean, really?
They didn't.
Yeah, and it feels like Spielberg just rewatched Crystal Skull and then said that. It's like, sure, okay, the magic of a Crystal Skull Spielberg indie movie, which is pretty much what you get.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because when you think about Crystal Skull, like there are some huge misses in there, but they're only the result of some. Most of them are only the result of some huge swings. Like, well, let's do something really weird and dumb and like out there, which is like, cool, okay, give that a shot. It fell in its ass, but fine, give it. There is nothing in like this is like the safest of like safe indie movie. Like it's like a workshopped indie movie, like a focus grouped indie movie.
Until the final third.
Until the final third, which is like, let's make no bones about it, awesome and the best bit of the movie, like by quite a long way. Do we not agree on that? I think it's awesome. I think it's great.
I wanted to like it better. I don't mind the swing. I just don't think they hit.
I don't think they stuck the landing on it. I really loved it. There's so many different places they could have gone. They probably did in reshoots. I have no idea, but I don't think they quite stuck the landing on it. And I did love what they did. I agree with you. Just don't think they stuck the landing. If they're going to go that wild,
Yeah, exactly.
there's something at the very end. They got to make a decision, and I don't think whatever they decided was anything other than what you say by committee. But you know what? Let me rewind a bit. I enjoyed this.
Yeah,
Sam
sure.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching this. I don't have as big a problem with some of the effects work at the beginning. It was wonky, but there was a point in it. It was so much effects work. Like, it was for so long. It wasn't just a glimmer. It wasn't just Luke in a corridor. It was like half an hour of it, that at some point in it, I was like, hey, Indy's back and he's young. Not at the beginning. At the beginning, I was like, this is a bit wonky, and there's no peril in this because it's just CG. It's just completely made up. But when he started being jokey Indy, classic, I am a Nazi Indy, that kind of worked for me because I started forgetting and remembering that's the kind of thing Indy would do, and that worked better than the peril scenes.
The thing is that I think you're right. I think in small doses it would have been spot on, but like every element of this movie is like twice as long as it needs to be. Like everything in this movie is twice as long as it needs to be. Every action sequence is like, you know, just skip to the end now. Like there's a lot of adding of the action sequences right at the beginning. There's the train walking along the top of the train.
Yeah, they could have just gone for the train.
That could have been half. Yeah, the motorbike and the car.
Yeah. They could have just gone the train inside the train.
It could have started at the point where Toby Jones is you know, in the chair, hostage of the Nazis. Like you're cutting like 15 minutes out. Like all of the stuff at the beginning, just cut that out, start it on the train, have a bit of a scuffle, run over the roofs, and then end it how it ends. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But it just went on. And then later you've got the tuck scene, and it just goes on.
Don't even double tuck scene.
Yeah.
And then they don't even finish it. They double down.
They do. Don't back down, double down. That's the advice they've been taking. And then later on you've got the eel scene, which goes on twice as long as it has to. Yeah. And it's just like every single time.
They had more CG eels than they expected to have.
but interestingly enough, I think they went back and they made all the same mistakes as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. If you go back and look at the two films, they sort of have a strange sort of mirror, you know. So they suddenly bring in characters from Indy's past who we're supposed to give a damn about, who we've never heard of, who make very little of impression. Here you've got your Toby Jones compared to, say, your Ray Winston, or even your John Hurt in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I don't think it's that egregious. I don't think Toby Jones's appearance is that egregious.
Oh no, you're right. Sorry, Toby Jones has a quarter of John Hurt's bloody screen time. You've got Antonio Banderas. You know, it would have been really nice to have some form of idea of a relationship.
I agree with Banderas. I thought Jones did a lot with what he had.
But this is a character who, the thing with Toby Jones is he was supposed to have had such a relationship that the film's other lead character is a goddaughter because of it.
He's just another Marcus, right? That's it. He's just a replacement.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's facsimile of a carbon copy.
Sure.
You know, your Crystal Skull, you've got your massive swing at the end, which again, I didn't mind the end of Crystal Skull because it was kind of, you know, it's set in the 50s. What was big in the 50s? Crazy ass sci-fi. Oh, okay, I'm down with that. But oh my god, they gave us the most almost banal version of crazy interdimensional aliens, and to some degree, without going into spoilers, they did exactly the same with this. Hooray, we've got an absolutely ridiculous idea, but let's somehow make it really small and disappointing.
It's funny though, because we're all like, oh, this bit was a bit bad, and this bit was a bit bad, and this overall, like, it's fine. It's like an okay movie. It's like when you sit down and start to talk about it, you can
pick it apart, but
very easily. But at the end of the cinema experience, I wasn't upset. I wasn't cross. I was like, oh, that was okay. Well, that was fine. I've watched the movie.
I think I enjoyed it more than I thought I would because you gave us your early reaction marks before I walked in. And so,
To be fair, you said you were going to be in the cinema at least 20 minutes before I sent my one word.
great.
Early
20 minutes.
review.
That's a great window.
What are
That's
you doing
fantastic.
what are you doing looking at your phone in the cinema, Cat? Are you one of
I
them?
was avoiding the
one
trailer.
of them?
Yeah, I was avoiding the trailers because I'd made it all the way to Indiana Jones without seeing any trailers, without knowing anything about it. And then Mark's like, sigh. It's like just he's come out of Dial of Destiny. And he's just like sigh, and I look at my phone and I'm like, great, this is going to be great.
But therefore, your lowered expectations enabled you to enjoy the film more.
I'm not thanking you.
There we go. You should thank me for so many things, but mostly that.
I enjoyed it, and I will say one thing: if the number of people who are in these cinemas is anything to judge its success by, I am putting a silver lining on this and saying no more. There won't be some kind of weird ass spin-off, at least not for a few years. There won't be some young indie whatever. There's not going to be any more indie.
Well, indie's got no cultural capital with you know, the I don't know what you call them, Zoomers, Gen Alpha. Like, it's got no they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's for us. It's for guys like us, and now we're tired of it. There's no one who wants or who will put up with any more.
But I'm kind of glad with that. I don't want anyone else but Harrison Ford to be indie. He's 80. He turned up. I enjoyed him doing it. Best you could get out of an 80-year-old playing indie. Happy he's hung up the hat. Great. I don't want this to be such a success that they go, let's have Maverick 3.
I don't think there's any fear of that.
Maverick 3? Can you imagine? That would be great.
Harrison Ford is Tom Cruise's dad. You heard it here.
Yes.
Yeah. You wait. Shia LaBeouf for the win.
The thing is, we're seeing, it's not like we're short of Harrison Ford this year. We're seeing him again later, aren't we? As Thunderbolt Ross.
Is it going to be this year or is it next year?
I can't remember.
He's in Captain America. It's next year.
Yeah, next year.
It's not called
up to it.
It's not called New World Order anymore, is it?
Brave New World.
Brave New World.
Something. Brave New World Order.
Yeah.
Brave
New Order.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's gonna resurrect Marvel.
I mean, think so. Just bring it back to Ford just very quickly. So this morning I needed a palette cleanse. I needed a Ford palette cleanser.
Yeah, Frantic didn't work.
So, well, that's the thing. I'd never seen Frantic.
Firewall. That's what you want to watch. Get out of my house.
So I'd never seen Frantic. Thought Roman Polanski. What could go wrong? Yeah, it turns out a lot of things. But again, Ford is brilliant in it. And let's be honest, Ford has got a long history of being excellent in pretty crappy films.
Air Force One.
Air Force One.
Air Force One. You know, when you've signed up for 3 Jack Ryan films, you do 2, you don't like the script of the 3rd, and then you go for Air Force One instead.
Get off
good
my plane.
Yeah. That's it. Russian Gary Oldman.
Presumed Innocent is up for tomorrow morning. Can't wait.
Presumed Innocent's good. Yeah, but you got to go for the dodgy stuff, like Hollywood Homicide. You know, really.
No, just no. But look, it's great to have Ford. You know, it's just indie should be, and it, you know, what would some wag in the thread said? Well, look, what kind of indie film would you rather have had?
No, your description was better. Yes, yes, I'd go with that. But I would have kept in some of the CG opening to have the action. I know you're saying no, but I would have kept in a bit of that, and then I'd have had the character drama based around Indy and everything he's lost along the way of his journey.
There you go. And jobs are good. And
yeah, it would have been.
Kathleen Kennedy, call me.
But you know, that kind of film wouldn't have made any money, whereas this
hasn't made any money.
Thank you.